Everybody, I'm Mike Gillette for CriticalBench.com. We're talking about 3 different variables that you can incorporate into your workouts to make your workouts more effective, more challenging, and more enjoyable. And the last of the variables, variable number 3, is what I call load displacement. Here's an example of what that means. We've got a dumbbell, and I'm going to perform a wrist curl with the dumbbell. You can see that the weight is very close to the leverage point, okay, the axis point of the exercise. And the key thing there, making it challenging, is how much load I'm actually using. So this is where load displacement comes in. It's where you take the load and you move it further away from the axis point. So here's an example. Okay, this is actually a grip tool, and what I have here is merely a 5-pound plate. Now, when is 5 pounds not actually 5 pounds? When you start moving it further and further away from the axis point of an exercise. So here, I'm doing the same wrist curl. It's infinitely more challenging, even though this was only an 8-pound dumbbell. This is only a 5-pound weight plate. And the further away that I move this 5-pound plate, the heavier it feels. This is a phenomenon I refer to as perceived load, when we can make things feel heavier simply because we are manipulating where the load is. Now, we've still got the load working in alignment with the limb. Here's an example of where we have a displaced load and it's asymmetrically loaded. Now, what do I mean by that? We have taken the load, we've projected away from the axis point, but it's also off balance here. It's not straight in line with the arm, it's actually off to the side. So even though this is, again, just a 5-pound weight, holding it still and moving it under control is very, very challenging. So think about exercises where you can incorporate this. If you do dumbbell bench presses, take one of those dumbbells, put it on the floor, and do one at a time. That asymmetrical load, okay, we are displacing load. How tight do you have to brace your body in order to keep one side of your body stable while you're pressing? Very challenging. If you're familiar with suitcase deadlifts, where you basically pick up a load on one side of the body. A lot of people like to perform body weight squats on one leg. They're called pistols oftentimes. That's a perfect example of load displacement, because all of the work is being done on one side and everything on the other side of the body has to be held very, very tight. So think about the 3 principles we've talked about. Working with range of motion, adjusting that, manipulating that, getting the most range of motion that you possibly can. Think about deliberate destabilization, where we're putting ourselves in a biomechanically disadvantageous position, and work with load displacement, taking your load and putting it in a position where it's not on the axis of power. A good example of that is the venerable kettlebell. That is a device that takes the load and either drops it down or puts it behind you, as opposed to a conventional dumbbell. So these principles are not new. They may be new to you. They may be something you've merely forgotten about. So try them all out. I think they're really going to help amp up the intensity and the enjoyment of your workouts. I'm Mike Gillette for CriticalBench.com.